Let's remove the wheel, 19mm socket, remove all 5 of your lug nuts. With this last one, the hubcap's going to want to come off, so take that off, of course, if you have steel wheels and if you have the hubcap. If not, don't worry about it. And remove the wheel. Sometimes they're stuck on like this, and if tapping them doesn't work, I'm going to grab a rubber mallet and hit it from the backside. But before I do that, I want to put on a lug nut for safety. That way the tire and wheel don't go flying off when I hit it. There we go. Remove your safety lug nut and remove the wheel. 32mm socket, let's remove this axle nut. Next, you want to make sure that this axle pushes through the hub. Next, over here you'll see 2 13mm bolts. I'm going to remove the top one first. That's going to unhook the ABS wire off of this bracket. And then the second bolt removes this bracket from the strut so we can pull the knuckle down without disconnecting any brake components. Now we can remove these 2 21mm nuts to remove the knuckle off of the strut. Drive your bolts through. Sometimes they're a little bit more stuck than that and you have to really beat on them. If you do, put the nut on flush with the end of the bolt. That way you have a nice flat surface to hammer on. Remove the bolts, and as you remove these, your knuckle's going to want to drop down. So keep that in mind. Pop the ABS wire off the knuckle here. Okay, now as the knuckle comes down, make sure you don't pull on your wires. Slide this over. That way you can put it under the strut. You can get some extra swing out of it. Pull the axle out. And a trick is to turn the steering wheel for this particular situation all the way to the left. That's going to extend the tie rod on this side, give you a little bit more space. Make sure the brake line or the brake hose doesn't get overstretched. And now you can just remove the axle, set it aside like that. Make sure your knuckle doesn't come more forward so it pulls on this. And now we can pop the axle out of the transmission. I have a collection bucket underneath, and if you follow the axle, you'll see where it goes into the transmission. You can simply take a pry bar, put it right behind it, give it a quick push, and it should pop right out. A little bit of fluid might drip out. There shouldn't be more than a few drops. And now you can take your axle and just slide it out the rest of the way. Make sure you don't pull on any wires or brake hoses. There it is. CV axle removed. Take the new axle, slide it through. Make sure you don't damage the boots. Line it up with the transmission. Twist it to line up with the splines. And I'm just going to grab the axle, give it a couple pushes, and it should pop right into the transmission. Now take the axle, slide it right into the knuckle here. Before I put it in all the way, I'm going to apply a little bit of anti-seize to the splines of the axle. This is going to prevent it from sticking into the hub in the future. All right, now slide it through. Don't forget to route your ABS wire where it actually needs to go. And bring your knuckle up, line up the bolt holes, and whichever bolt lines up first, slide that through. There we go. And now you can let go, put in the other bolt, drive those through all the way. Start the nuts on. You'll notice that this has some movement. When you tighten it, you don't push it in all the way. Your alignment professional will take care of the rest when you bring it to the alignment shop, which you will need for this repair since you disassembled this. All right, push it in, tighten this up. Now you don't have to hold it for the top since I already held it for the bottom. We'll torque these in a minute. For now, let's just put back the ABS wire so it stops flopping around. Put that back into the knuckle. This will go here. This goes like this. Start on the main bolt for this bracket, and then the bolt that holds on the ABS bracket. Start on these two bolts and then tighten them up. Put this ABS wire retainer back onto the body here. Tighten this one up. All right, now let's come back here and torque these two nuts to 103 foot-pounds for both of these. That's one, and that's two. Put the axle nut back on. I'm gonna bottom it out with my impact gun, and then we'll torque it. I'm gonna put my long pry bar going through the lug studs to prevent this from spinning, and I'm gonna torque this to 118 foot-pounds. All right. That's that right there. Get the wheel back on. And if you have hubcaps, go ahead and put them on now because the lug nuts are what hold the hubcaps in. And you have this little cutout here that has to line up with your valve stem. I'll line that up. Automatically your lug nuts will line up with the holes in the hubcaps. Put on all 5 of your lug nuts, snug them up, and torque them to 100 foot-pounds.